right. Hey, guys, and welcome to Bants and Burgers. We didn't have our usual intro with the music. Not sure what happened there, but let's put it on. Ah, there we go. Thank you. Cool. How you going?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good, yeah. I'm pumped full of Red Bull today.
Awesome.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, beautiful. So, yeah, welcome back to Bants and Burgers. We are going to be doing a podcast today on training, all things training. We put a question box up a little while ago and had some really good questions come in. So,
sorry, he's just fucking looking at me weird, man.
Jarrod, how many podcasts have we filmed? Speak into the fucking microphone.
He's just staring at me. Just straight staring
Seriously?
at me. Yeah.
So we got a little pep talk
I'm
before
not
this.
talking at the moment.
Guys.
God damn it. Anyway.
Anywho, okay, so what was I saying before? Let's start again. All right, let's go. Back again. All right, welcome back to Bants and Burgers. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. So I'm here with Jarrod, as per usual. How's your week been, Jarrod?
Oh, you know, full of work.
Yeah.
Just heaps of work.
Same old.
I'm actually having trouble winding down.
Yeah?
But, yeah.
Well, you've got 2 Red Bulls right in front of you, so maybe that could be why.
Packing the Red Bull today, and yeah, let's get into it. We got the Biscoff. Yes.
So I'm sure you would have known, unless you've been living under a rock, that recently Krispy Kreme has bought out a Biscoff edition. I actually have DM'd Krispy Kreme so many fucking times. I'm like, guys, Biscoff, what are you doing? And they've been like, oh, maybe one day, buddy. Maybe one day. And finally day's here. So everyone
You've got your wish now.
Can thank me. So I said to Jarrod, I was like, let's do a taste test on Bants and Burgers. And then I couldn't wait and I had one the other day. But I think I had this.
Bitch, man.
But the thing is, right, I had this stuff one, like there he goes. That he just took a big mouthful. Out of 10? So Jarrod just tried.
Pretty fucking good.
Jarrod just tried the one that's got a ring. So there's like a ring, like a normal Krispy Kreme with just like the topping and like the filling. But then I tried this big mother effer, and it's got cream inside. It's a little bit disappointed, to be honest.
Do you not like the cream?
No, I do, but I thought it would be Biscoff inside.
Yeah, true. That's a bit ripped, eh?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have a little bite of this one.
Yeah, go.
I'll track like an eighth of a. They're like 400 calories for a whole thing, so I'm like, that's a lot. I could eat like a whole meal for that. I better get some topping on the top, hey. All right,
She's straight butchering my donut here. Anyway, go on then.
All right, 3, 2. I was about to like
bite into silence, so you go
spit
first.
into the microphone. All right, 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
The countdown for herself. Oh, it's all over your new jumper.
Yeah,
Shout
that's
out
so
Georgia.
much better. So much better. Yeah, guys, I just spilt donut all over my beautiful friend Georgia Benita Frank. She has a clothing brand. You should definitely go check it out. Jarrod will put it into the link of our podcast, maybe, if you can figure out how to do that.
Dude, I actually like this one better.
Really?
Yeah.
God. So
I frothed that cream.
Yeah, it's good, hey. Biscoff
Anyway.
is like the best thing in the world. If you haven't tried it, you need to go try it, but be careful, you will get addicted to it.
I'm going to stop scoffing my face.
Yeah, so. Anywho, should we get right into it?
Yeah. Moving on. We're going to do training this week. So let's start off with some questions. We put up a poll on our Instagram, and we got heaps of questions back, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Usually we post it and we get like a few, like, I don't know.
Dude, we got so many confused people. And
like 10 max usually we'll get. And this week we got like almost like 30, I reckon. So
we had to sort of cut it down.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
We picked out some good ones that we think we want to touch on, and we're going to go through them today, and hopefully they cover the other ones that we missed.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Up first, we got a question in. Do I need to train 6 days per week? No, you don't. No way. Dude, that's crazy, actually. Like, I mean, look, like you can train 6 days a week, but I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to train 7 days a week, but you know, that's getting a bit crazy because it gets really hard to recover and rest and get in.
Yeah.
Because like your muscle grows while
100%.
you're resting. So it's really hard to coordinate a 6 day week.
There's no room for error. Like no room for error at all.
And get your rest in. Like I honestly tell any client that comes on who's like, I want to go all in. I'm like, okay, let's do 5 days.
Yeah.
For me, that's like maximum.
Yeah.
And then having those recovery days help because it's like well, if you're training 6 days a week, you're going to get fatigued and you're going to come in one day and you're going to put in a half effort, well, not half effort, but you're just not going to be at your full capacity. And like realistically, like you want to be 100% or very close to when you're training. So
yeah, I think like resistance sessions, definitely like 5 is more than enough. Like if you were going to add in like the 6 day, like a cardio sort of movements hit session, then something like that. I mean, you know, if it might be for some clients, I might do a 6 day of like, you know, a body part they wanted to bring up for a short period of time, but not like,
100%.
It's not necessary. It's really not.
I feel like if you're, you know, bringing up a body part that recovers really quickly, for example, like, you know, you might do a 5 day split, say, you know, and then add a 6 day of just arms if your arms are like recovering super quickly, or it really depends on the person. So you might be adapting to your training plan, and then you might be able to fit in that tiny little bit of extra volume, or, you know, you might want to come in for abs even, or something like that. Yeah, I would. Yeah. But man, 6 days a week of like
a training split,
full on training. Oh man, yeah, it's a lot. So not to say it's not achievable, like definitely, but for me, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't prescribe any of my clients 6 days a week. Maybe like, say for instance, if I had a comp prep client who did like 5 days weights, and then she came in on one of her days, did cardio session, you know, something like that. But I definitely prefer I think like 2 days off is definitely a good amount of time.
Let's talk about minimum. Like I feel like you can get a lot out of like 3 days a week. You can get a lot out of that if you want to come in and do, say, full either bodies. 3 full bodies, or you could do upper lower and then a full body, or, you know, upper lower if you really want like a lower base split, or definitely. Honestly, like there's even like good plans out there that have just been 2 days. You know? I mean, I'm not gonna push it, but like
I think I definitely recommend 3.
Like, look, 2 is better than nothing. You 100%. Know what I mean? You can definitely get progress off that if you want to do 2 full day. Like, there's merit to it because, for example, I do actually have some clients on 2 days.
Yeah, same.
For example, like might have been at the start being like, yeah, okay, I can do 4 days, and then, you know, I look at their program like, look, realistically, you're turning up 2 days a week max.
Yeah.
And like your program is for 4 days, and you're not getting the most out of this. So how about we actually be realistic?
Yeah.
Like you might have a busy work week. You know, you might just not like the gym that much.
You
might not be able to motivate yourself to get into the gym that often. So we bring it back to 2 days, and suddenly you're finding that your client has way more energy. They're hitting their session with like more like intent, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, you're getting in there, you're getting it done because you only have to be in here 2 days a week. So it's like, that's way better than telling your client to come in 4 days and then have them half-ass their session or even not turn up. And
for sure.
Because if you're doing 2 full days, then sweet.
I think I always say to my clients, like, I'd so much rather them, like if I set them 3 and they do 2, or if I set them 2 and they do 2, like they're winning their week then. And I think that's so much better from a motivation standpoint. 100%. Plus, if that you program them 3 or 4 days and they come in 2, they're going to pick what days they want to do. And a lot of the time they're not going to be working their body evenly. So if you do the 2, then you can control what they're training, and, you know, making sure that their workouts are actually like going to be beneficial. So.
Yeah. And you know what, like when you're missing workouts and you feel like you're failing, like that getting in that negative mindset, and then it just snowballs, and then you end up like having a client that just doesn't come in because they're like, oh, I can't fucking do this.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so set goals that are achievable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In saying that, you know, push yourself, but, you know, set goals that are realistic for yourself.
For sure. What have you got next?
Most embarrassing moment as a trainer.
You know what? I like we saw this question when they first asked it, and I had a little think about it. I actually don't have heaps of embarrassing moments, but I think one thing that I can think of that it's not even like funny embarrassing. It's like actually like, fuck, this is embarrassing. I like went through a stage a little while ago. Like I still have a really weak bladder, but I went through a stage like probably about a year ago where it was fucking bad. Like, and it was like, I found out that it was actually like all in my head. Like it was a lot of anxiety, but because I knew that I was like going to pee, like some sessions I was peeing like twice in the middle of a session. Like I'd be like, I'm so sorry, I need to go to the toilet. And it was like I'm very open with my clients, and I was like telling them, but like it's pretty embarrassing when you like pee and then like 10 minutes later you're like, I've got to go to the toilet again. Like, so yeah, that was me.
That's so.
Oh, did you just fart again?
No, it's the drill upstairs, as if they
As if they would do that while we're doing a podcast. How rude.
Do they not know who we
How
are and
rude.
what we're trying to achieve down here?
Anywho, all
right. Yeah.
It's yours.
Honestly, it was embarrassing for me, but also way more embarrassing for him. But I had a kid once who, like, he come in for a session where he was programmed legs. He didn't tell me he hadn't like eaten or drunk anything like all day, and like I just pushed the fuck out of this kid, man, and he just did everything that. I hope that's really not coming up or whatever.
Just talk loud.
Anyway, I pushed this kid to the max, man, and he did everything I said. Like,
what a champ!
Yeah, he's an absolute legend. Like, he would never quit. Like, until
I've got some clients who would literally just do whatever I say.
Bro, this kid went until he fucking dropped, and he
good.
dropped in the middle of the gym, and he was just so dizzy and just fucked. and he just spewed all over himself in the middle of the gym.
On himself too.
Dude, like, he was just so delirious of where he was. He just sat down and just in the middle of the gym just threw up on himself, and I was like, fuck. I felt so bad because I was like, that was my fault. Yeah, I should have like asked him, how you feeling? What have you been doing all day? Whatever. So it turns out he went to the dentist and he didn't really eat or drink or whatever, and I was like, fuck, man.
Whoopsie daisy.
That sort of sucks. Anyway, I had to give him one of my shirts because he's literally like covered in spew. And anyway, that was embarrassing for me because like as a coach, like I don't want to, you want to push someone to their potential, but you never want to do that. So there's no reason to ever push someone that hard that they're literally like throwing up and shit. Like, that's just pointless. So
you live and you learn.
I felt pretty bad and honestly like embarrassing for him, and I felt that secondhand embarrassment, and it sort of sucks, but. I mean, you look back on it now and you're like, fuck.
Oh, you can laugh about it, but
I guess at the time it was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
Whoopsie daisy.
Anyway, shout out to.
Let's not name names. I thought you were going to say his name. Let's not do that.
Shout out to him. He knows who he is. He's a fucking trooper there.
All right, next up, what do we got? I can't see, to be honest. So you're going to
training in the AM versus PM.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So honestly, it's like very dependent on the person and when they feel best. I'm pretty sure there is some research to say that in the PM is more beneficial or like later on in the afternoon when you're like a few meals deep.
Yep.
But honestly, like I've got clients who, train first thing. That's just when it fits best for them with their work schedule. I think, you can go down to the nitty gritty and say, all right, well, you're going to get 1%, scientifically and all that kind of stuff. But whatever works for you in your schedule, then definitely do that.
Yeah, for sure. I think mentality-wise, it might be best to get up and get at it or whatever. I definitely used to train in the night time myself. I used to work like 14-hour days or 16-hour days or whatever, and like you can't get up earlier than 5 o'clock. Well, I couldn't. So to get on site, so I was just always training in the PM. But I like I've trained in the morning as well, which sort of gets you up and hitting your day hard because you get that, those endorphins at the start of the day, you feel good or whatever. But for me, honestly, now, like I can't even do either of those things. Like for me, it's like almost middle of the day, like 10, 11 o'clock, like you would know as a PT, like usually your clients are like early in the morning and then you got your afternoon clients and then you got this big gap in the middle of the day where like everyone's at work. That's when we get shit done. So, I mean, for me, like,
I think
that's when I train in the middle of the day, but I just got to do it whenever you can fit it in, sort of thing. I try and jump in with my clients as like early as I can, sort of thing. So I can get it done and out of the way, and also just makes me feel better.
But you can kind of gauge from like how much energy you'll need for your session. So I know for me, I can do upper body really early in the morning, but I wouldn't be able to do a leg session early in the morning.
Bro, I trained legs. Trained legs with one of my clients, Dan, the other morning at like 6 or 7.
My legs are still asleep.
And I was like, fuck this. I don't know like how some of my clients come in at 5. Shout out to fucking Connor, one of my clients at 5:30, to come in at 5:30 and smash out a session. Done. Because like, I'm just like there the whole time being like, I'm glad this ain't me. But like, good on you. Like, he's actually killing it too. And 5 days a week.
Yeah, good.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. How to be consistently motivated to train.
Cool. You want me to take this one?
Sure. You take it away.
So I think the important thing, I think it's really cliche, but it's so true, is that you're not always going to be motivated, and that's the bottom line. I'm a big advocate though of using motivation to get started. I think, we all have motivation times, New Year's or just even doing a challenge, things like that. They are a good motivation boost for a lot of people, but I think it's really important to take note when you are in those moments of the things that are keeping you sort of motivated and keeping you going, and also using that time to set in some good habits that you are going to do consistently, because there will become a time where the motivation is going to wear off and the dedication will just have to come in. I know
that shit comes in waves, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I know firsthand how hard it is, and I've actually let it got the better of me this last year with my training. I know I struggle so much in the lead up to my period, just in that luteal phase, just doing anything pretty much. So I think some things that have really helped me is reaching out to a friend and asking them to train. I know I'll always hit up Jarrod for a session if I'm just really not feeling it. Pre-workout's going to be your best friend. I've been loving, I'll shotgun my pre-workout, and I just feel like the baddest bitch.
You bad dog.
I know. I probably look like I'm choking and dying, but do that, get some good tunes on. And I think just really if you've got a goal that you're working towards.
If you've got someone that you want to aspire towards or something, I always put on, what's his name? That big, strong
guy.
Well,
it's motivational
Larry
speech.
Wheels.
Yeah.
Larry Wheels, dude. I put that shit on all the time.
I've got a few motivational speeches that I'll put on in my, it's Arnie. He's I don't need, what does he say?
Accent.
He's what the hell?
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper. No, what does he say? He's he's talking about waking up early in the morning, and he's talking about how sleep's weak, and he's you don't need sleep, you wake up. Yeah, I don't know what he fucking says, but yeah, all that sort of stuff. Jared's got him for round 2 of the donut. But yeah, just bring it back. I know for me, I'll every single morning I journal, and I write down my goals every single morning. The same thing over and over. Think about your goals and then why you're doing what you're doing, and then when you bring it back to that, I think a lot of the time, you just got to get shit done. I always it always sticks with me something that Robbie Frame always says. He's a fitness influencer, and he goes, there ain't nothing to it, you just got to do it. And I always say that in my head. I'm literally just got to do it. You don't have to hit some PBs sometimes. You just need to just do it.
Yeah, 100%.
100.
100. All right. Difference between male programming and female programming.
Hit me. I'm just going to finger this donut and just...
There's some... I don't know, questionable things happening on this podcast today. Anyway, difference between male and female programming. Look, there's not heaps of difference. There is slight differences, and I think the majority of the reason is because there's differences in goals, right?
Yeah.
I would say the majority of girls, when I ask them, they're I want a fat booty and I want to lean up. Whereas the last thing they're usually mentioning is I want a big chest and arms. I
want a big chest and arms, but
you do have big chest and arms, bro. You're jacked.
But I want a bigger bum. So that's, obviously the frequency is going to be different. If you
have different goals, you're going to have different training programming.
Yeah.
So if you want to have 3 lower days then to bring up your booty, then that's what you got to do. If you want a bigger chest, maybe hit it 3 times a week. So usually what you'll find is male programming has 3 upper days and 2 lower, and might be the opposite for a female, 3 lower, 2 upper, or, maybe.
All that kind of, where you're at.
God,
I think
I'm really cooking this up today. Hey?
Sometimes I have days where all my clients know, I'll just talk and I'll just fuck up my words, or I'll be trying to egg them on for a set. I'm yeah, you got the, and then they just laugh and they're trying to hit a PB. I'm so sorry.
Sometimes try and count the reps, and then I'll say
no, 4, but I mean
well done, or another one, and I'll be well, another one, or some shit like
and
that.
Another one.
And I'll be excuse me.
Sorry, what?
I don't know.
But,
I'm going home.
I think as well, females can tolerate a lot more volume than guys. It's been scientifically proven.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's another thing to consider, that us girls can be pushed a lot more with the volume in the gym and recover a bit faster. So that's something to keep in mind, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's the main differences. I don't think really specifically you should do exercises any differently or anything like that. I think, the main difference is just what is your goal, and maybe some girls have the goal of having a massive chest and arms and stuff, and in that case, like,
go for it.
Program it the same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And another thing as well to consider would be just like training around the menstrual cycle. That's something that, guys don't really get affected in waves of their strength and stuff like that. So I've got some females where we will do like a little bit of like maybe like a deload week or just a decrease in the volume just in that luteal phase of their cycle. But yeah, apart from that, I think just get it done.
I feel like that's touched on it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Fitting it all in, work, train, study, how to manage training around inconsistent roster and shift work.
Yeah, cool. So I feel like this is something I used to do when I used to fit in like my whole life. I used to, do disability care work, which was not overnight shifts, day shifts, all that kind of stuff. And it was forever changing. I would definitely suggest getting some kind of a schedule in your life. I use Google Calendar and I literally would be lost without it. So pretty much you can get Google Calendar on your smartphone, download it, and then what I do is I put in like all your set tasks for the week, like work, things that you can't change. Maybe it might be like a dance rehearsal, whatever. Put them in first, and then whatever is your priority next. So for most people that are into the gym would be your training. So then put in your training sessions throughout the week. Schedule in. I would schedule in more than enough time. So say if you're doing a leg session an hour and a half, like just always schedule yourself a little bit more time than you need. And then I even go one up from that, and I put in when I'm going to do my work at home. I put I've got all my clients in there, my training. Then I put in when I'm going to meal prep, when I'm going to do my laundry, all that kind of stuff, and just really map your week out. And so you can see it in a glance rather than going through the week and you're like, shit, it's Friday and I've got 4 sessions to do.
There's nothing more that I hate, I think, than someone who fucking tells me they don't have enough time to chase after what they're trying to do. You know what I mean?
I love that you said that at the end because yeah.
It honestly, there's nothing that pisses me off more than that, because it's like I think back to like even now, like I work so fucking much, and like even like back when I did engineering, like I'm work 16-hour days, and that's like in one big block. Like I know I work split shift now and I'm able to train during the day. That's just lucky for me. Yeah. Because I work my roster around that. But even when I was working like those big days, like if you want it, fucking go and do it. Like I used to take my gym clothes to work, and then I go from work where I'm dirty as fuck, like straight to the gym, hit the gym straight after, and then go home. Like
that's it.
You've got time. You just need to you need to schedule it in, be a bit more like efficient with your time. You need to time manage better. Like, there's no such thing as I don't have enough time.
For sure. And
that's the worst excuse ever.
I think it's good, like you just said, like for people who complain about not getting somewhere. Like I think it's okay if you want to prioritize your family over training. That's fine, but just admit it. Like just don't say that.
Fucking keep saying, "Oh, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. Oh, this is a priority for me." Yeah. If it's not a priority, then that's fine. But at least you need to recognize like what actually is your priority. If your priority is socializing and going out and making friends and hanging out with whoever, or going it doesn't really matter. Whatever your priority is, then that's okay. Like there's nothing bad about that. That's completely your choice. But like if you're constantly complaining about, oh, like I want to lose weight, like this is number one priority for me, and then you're telling me, oh, but I just don't have enough time. Well, no, that's fucking bullshit. Yeah. You need to just
I call bullshit.
Schedule a little better.
Organization is the key for sure.
Yeah. All right. How does your training differ depending on your goal, building/cutting? For me, it honestly very rarely changes. Like, unless I'm literally like in the very depth of comp prep, or like Bonnie said, like, if you've got your period, I honestly wouldn't change it. Like your goals should be the same. Like your training should be the same. 100%. Honestly, you might want to decrease volume, like coming into the depths of comp prep, because you're simply just not recovering anymore because your calories are so low. Like I said in our competitive podcast, like you competed at your worst. So you've got low recovery, you're living off stimulants. Like it's just fucking unhealthy, honestly. Like in the last final stages, you're really pushing your body. So you're going to have to reduce your volume down. Yeah. But like, yeah, like aside from that, like I always train the same year in, year out. And that the reason being is like, you know, you want to maintain that muscle mass when you're cutting. You got to fucking put in the work when you're cutting as well. And that's half the challenge of it, you know, like you're running low on calories and you still have to push to retain that muscle mass. And that's why we keep our protein nice and high and reduce the calories down. So we're trying to keep that muscle about and then really pushing it down. So that's how you create adaptation, you know.
I think a lot of people think, like I hear it so often that people are like, all right, I'm cutting, all right, lower the weight, higher the reps, that kind of stuff. But like Jarrod just said, when, you know, we built all this muscle, when you build all this muscle in like a building phase, and then if you drastically change your training stimulus that you're giving it, you're not giving your muscle a reason to hang around. Like you're already in a catabolic state when you're dieting and your body's just like trying to get rid of everything pretty much when you're in a deficit. So you need to try and keep your training consistent and try to hit your numbers still similar to what you were. Otherwise, your muscle is going to be like, all right, well, you don't need me anymore. See ya. Yeah.
Now, there is one thing that I will say about this, and this is a huge thing, is mentality, the swap in mentality between cutting and building. So, like, if you are in a building phase and, you know, you're in a calorie surplus, you got plenty of calories, you know, the mentality should be, we're pushing for PBs. We're trying to progressive overload every fucking week. Like, if you can, you know, obviously, if you're
some weeks,
really high level lifter, like that's not going to happen every week. But you know, as a beginner or intermediate,
it's a goal.
If you're in a building phase, you should be getting stronger almost every single week
in some way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, whether it be, you know, better form or higher weight or more reps or whatever. Now, when you're in a calorie deficit, that mentality needs to shift. Like, you need to not be so focused on slamming PBs home every week when you're in a calorie deficit, because you're being limited by the amount of food and energy intake that you're getting. So your mentality in a deficit, a lot of the times, especially if you're intermediate, is going to be maintain strength, aka maintain muscle mass. So obviously, like if you're a super beginner, like you may be able to put on some strength in a cut for sure. Yeah, definitely possible. But you know, as time goes on, you'll find that when you're cutting, the very fucking best thing that you can hope for is that you maintain your strength
100%.
And lose the weight while you're maintaining, you know, which is just how the fat comes off and how you retain that muscle. So,
100%. I think
that is the only real difference, I would say.
And then like the addition of extra cardio, but that's just standard, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. So next one, anaerobic versus aerobic.
Yeah, cool. Good question.
I guess you mean what are the differences?
Yeah, so they're just like referring to different types of energy systems. So your aerobic is like pretty much in the name, so it's using air, so you're breathing. So that is the energy system that we use for kind of like low intensity, long duration performances. So like you're jogging, you're swimming, any kind of low intensity steady state cardio, that kind of thing. And then your anaerobic is where you tap into like stored energy sources. So more short bursts, short duration, high intensity movements. So like your weightlifting, any kind of sprints, HIIT training, all that kind of stuff.
Anything that's going to get that heart rate up.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. In terms of like, I suppose what's superior, they're definitely, none of them are superior because they are so different, but I feel like there's different, you know, there's a time and place for each of them.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that
it's like everything really, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think like if you're striving for like just an all around healthy body, then you definitely need to incorporate both of them. When it comes to like the order, if you're going to do them in the same day, you definitely want to do your anaerobic first over your aerobic, because it's just like that's our preferred energy system that we'll tap into first. And then also you don't want to be doing weights after you've wasted a little bit of energy doing some sort of like a low intensity cardio, because you're just not going to have the same endurance that you would usually if you've already tapped into that energy system first.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, cool. But and yeah, I think... What was I going to say? I wanted to say something else than that. I've completely forgot now. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So that's just, I mean, that's when you get down to the nitty gritty. Like I think in the day as well, like I know a lot of people say, you know, wait and do your weights first and then cardio last, talking about like separate times of the day. But I think, you know, sometimes it just comes down to, you know, your schedule and what you can fit in. But yeah, if you are going to do them in the same session, definitely doing your weights first, and then going on to some sort of more of a steady state cardio after that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do weights, girls.
Do weights. Yeah.
And boys. But
and boys.
definitely all you cardio bunnies, get in the weight
room. Yeah, for sure.
It's beneficial. All right, last one, I think.
Shoot.
Yeah, no more. CNS fatigue and deloads. That's a good one. I like this question.
So central nervous system, is that?
CNS is central nervous system for anyone who isn't aware. So basically, fatigue in general. So I guess you're wanting to know about it. So like fatigue. So, you know, we talk about fatigue, like in our session, you know, you might go in, you do a session, and over the next couple of days, you feel sore. You feel like you can't train that muscle again because it's sore or whatever, which is smart. You don't do that. But what we don't think about is when our muscle recovers and we're not sore anymore, we think there's no fatigue left. But in actual fact, there is. There's two types of, there's what we call cumulative fatigue. So basically what happens is when we recover to a state where, you know, we feel not sore anymore, whatever, we think there's no fatigue, but there's just this tiny little bit left that you know, you're not feeling because it's like, you know, we're 90% recovered, but like there's still that 10%. So what happens is over time is that fatigue builds up, hence cumulative fatigue, right? And then you'll find just like one day you'll come into the gym and you'll just feel fucking shit. You'll feel like you can't lift what you lifted last week. You feel like you might not even be able to lift 75% of it. And that there is cumulative fatigue. And this is why we program deloads in our program, because like I said, that fatigue builds up over a number of weeks. Now, how I program my clients is I'll give my clients a new program every 6 weeks. And what that does is they don't notice it, but every 6 weeks they get a whole bunch of new exercises that maybe they haven't done in a while or whatever, and they got to find out, what's the weight that I should be using on this exercise? I don't know. I haven't done it for 6 months. So they're using that first week where they've got a new program to be like, they're testing the waters, you know, they might do like 50%, 75%, and you know, so they're not actually doing their full workout. Yeah. So every 6 weeks they get this little sort of half fuck around week where they're just finding out the weights and that. And that's how I try and control cumulative fatigue with my clients. So I don't have to fucking program a full, like, because if I didn't do that, like, so let's just say I gave someone a program and just said, okay, for the next 12 weeks, you're doing this program. And then 6 weeks in, because they're hammering at home, or 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks in, they're like, fuck, I'm fucked. And then, you know, I have to program them a deload week, which, by the way, a deload week is when, you know, I tell you, okay, you're going to come in this week, we're going to do 60% of what we have been doing, whether it be 60% of the reps or 60% of like the weight lifted, for all of our sets. Yeah. So, you know, if you're squatting 100 for sets of 10, 5 sets, well, you're going to either come in and you're either going to come in and do 60. I did that
yesterday, actually.
10 reps of 60 for 5 sets. Yeah. Or you're going to do 6 reps of 100 at 5 sets, or you can halve the sets down. And that's just how we deload it. So it's just a reduction of total volume that you're training, volume being like the amount of weight times the amount of sets and reps. And it gives your body that chance to rest. So you come in, you're stimulating your muscles so that, you know, the muscles aren't deteriorating because they're still like, we're still using. Yeah. We're still getting used. So your body's like, don't get rid of the muscle. Yeah. But also it's not at a high level where we're actually damaging the tissue and that. And, you know, we don't have to do a big recovery. You know what I mean?
Just avoiding the burnout for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So that's cumulative fatigue. So it's when that fatigue builds up over time and you got to take time off or back it off to get fully recovered again so that you can move into your next block with everything and not just come in and you feel fucking like just shit, you know?
I think that like majority of people as well. Like, yeah, it's like you said, like you do it strategically in your programming, but majority of Gen Pop clients as well, like don't need a full on like proper deload week because they've got shit coming up. They're going out on the weekend. They're missing a session here and there. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like I feel like when you're doing like powerlifting and stuff like that, then 100% like you need to take like a full on deload week.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, just putting into your programming like that is a really good strategy.
And that brings us into, you mentioned powerlifting as well. CNS fatigue was the other thing that was mentioned here. So before I'm talking about muscular fatigue, I guess CNS fatigue really does come into what I was talking about before with the deload. But CNS fatigue, especially for powerlifters or people who are doing like big, heavy compound lifts. Shout out to GMAC. I'm doing a lot of shout outs today. Hey?
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to GMAC for teaching me about CNS fatigue. So basically, whenever you do a really
he
heavy...
taught me too, but it was through his coaching and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So like when you're doing a big, heavy compound lift, like not only does it put stress on your muscles and that, just watching Bonnie finger the icing and anyway, not only does it put stress on your muscle tissue and that, but also your central nervous system cops a huge amount of damage not damage, but like stress when you lift heavy weight, you know? So if I go in, so what he said to me was 1 to 2 days it takes your central nervous system to recover from a 1 RM bench press, right? And then we go into a 1 RM squat where it takes 5 to 6 days for your CNS to recover. And then he said a 1 RM deadlift takes 11 days.
Yeah.
That's a fucking long time. So if you do a 1 RM deadlift and then you come in within that period and you try and, you know, go for a huge lift again, you're not gonna be at your full potential because it takes your body time to actually repair that.
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Can I just say that is why your coach may get a little bit frustrated with you if you're testing your 1 RM every 2 weeks. Like, you know, I say it all the time to my clients. They'll like send me a video like, oh, I just did this lift. And I'm like, that's really amazing. Good job. And I'm so happy that you were keen to try that lift. But just be careful because it's going to affect your training. You know, I remember I'm like, learn from me. Like I did it when I was first starting at the gym. I think I tested my deadlift every fucking week.
It feels good to go for a big
you feel
one
like
lift,
a boss. And when you're starting out, you are going to make PBs. But I injured myself. Like I hurt my knee and it's like never probably been the same since I put it under that constant stress. So that's why there is strategy behind our programming, why we every now and then will test you for your 1 RMs. There's a reason behind that. So.
So it's just affecting your training. So if you're looking to get like the most out of your program and you're testing your 1 RMs every week, like, well, you're going to fatigue your body, you're going to fatigue your muscles, you're going to fatigue your CNS.
You're not going to reach your full potential.
Yeah, you're not going to reach your full potential. So find those satisfying wins in doing a PB of say 5 or 8 or whatever's on your program. You know, each week that progressive overload's like super satisfying for me. I can't remember the last time I tested 1 RM, probably 6 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I don't do it often because for me it's just a risk. And like when you know, bodybuilding is my job and I've got to get on stage, you know, lifting super, super heavy for 1 rep just is fucking pointless for me. Like, I mean, fair enough. You're a powerlifter, sure. But in saying that as well, like, as a powerlifter, you're not going for 1 RM every week. That's not how it works.
You go for your 1 RM like on comp day pretty much.
You go through a series of phases. If you don't know, like, you know, you got your accumulation phase where, you know, you're doing a lot of reps for low weight where you're sort of building up that tolerance to volume and you're learning the lift and you're learning how to make that lift like the most efficient possible. And then you move into intensification phase where you bring the reps down a little bit and then your weight goes up. And now you might be doing, you know, 5 sets of 5 or whatever, or 4 sets of 6. You know, the intensity goes up, volume goes down, and then we start to work on, you know, those little breakdowns like, oh, like the hips are shifting up when they should be, you know, down or whatever. And you start to have those little breakdowns. And then in that phase, we're working on fixing those little breakdowns, and then we move into the peaking phase. Now, keep in mind, all these phases are like 6 to 8 weeks or maybe even longer. And then you move into the peaking phase where it's like, okay, now we're doing triples, doubles, singles, and then, you know, all the way up until, you know, the end of that phase where you might hit your 1 RM. So we've literally just went through an 18 to 24 week phase there, you know.
Yeah, it's a long prep. It's hard.
It's not,
Yeah.
as a powerlifter, you're not just going for 1 RMs every week. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So if you're looking to build strength, maybe put a little bit more research in it than that, or, find someone who knows what they're talking about. And
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to get a good program.
For sure.
Oh, my
Beautiful.
laptop's gone dead. But I think that's
That was
that's
it.
the
That was
last question.
perfect
So I
timing.
think,
Yeah.
we're good.
Awesome.
All right, let's
wrap this bitch up.
wrap it up because I want to finish that
finish the donuts. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here today, guys. If you watched it and enjoyed it, make sure you take a screenshot, pop it on your story, and give us a tag. Tag the Bants and Burgers page, me and Jarrod. Appreciate you all as always.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.